Good evening, everybody, and welcome to tonight's Monday night panel. I'm sorry, I was waiting for the intro video to come on, but it didn't play. So let me try now, and we will be back. No, it's not going to play, so we will get straight on to it. So let's bring Vic on.
Hi, Chris.
Vic, you okay?
Yeah.
Not sure why the video didn't play. It's don't know. But you can go through the graphics and thing, can't you? So
yeah, it's a shame. It took ages to put that together. Anyway, that's right. There's a couple of birthdays in there I should mention. It was Harry McCurdy's birthday yesterday. He was born on the 29th of March, 1997. And Bart Grimmink, whose shirt you can see behind me, he was born on the 29th of the 3rd, 1972. And we should also say a happy birthday to Billy Bowden, who was born on the 24th of March, 1992. Maybe Dad... Well, ask Dad what he got him for his birthday a little later, shall we?
Yeah. You want to do your SAS?
Yes, SAS travel. A few seats left for Cambridge on Thursday, of course, leaving West Swindon at 1 p.m. The Nigel Eady County Ground at 1:30 p.m. £25 for members and £27 for non-members. Colchester, which is on a Friday night, pretty much sold out. So SAS pretty much sold out for Colchester. On a Friday night, I'm sure it's going to be really warm and balmy at Colchester on a Friday night. And then Grimsby, they go on sale tomorrow, leaving West Swindon at 7:15 a.m. The Nigel Eady County Ground. This, of course, is the 25th of April. 7:45 a.m. at the County Ground. Limited offer on first few coaches of £20 per person. And SAS will put something out when they get close to running out of that offer. So limited offer on the first few coaches of £20 a person to go to Grimsby on the 25th of April, which may or may not be a very big game indeed. So we shall see.
Exactly.
Yeah. Also, I'd just like to say personally, thank you very much indeed to all those who've donated to this poor old chap's efforts in the London Marathon for the Phoenix Enterprises. Thank you very much indeed. I'm very touched, and it's great of you to do so. So thank you very much indeed. And Neil Hussey, Chris, has been in touch.
Yes. Neil is collecting match-worn shirts. He is prepared to pay whatever the going rate is for match-worn shirts. So if anybody's got any, can they contact us with what they've got? I know he's got some. So make sure that it'll be the ones he wants, and we can put you in contact with him. Details will also be in our newsletter, which will go out shortly. Okay, so a couple of things. Junior Reds, that we're very, very proud sponsors of, the Junior Reds Room. So they are holding a Junior Reds draw to win a mascot package for next season. Okay. So this is again sponsored by us. So it will be announced at the Chesterfield game in the Junior Reds Room. So that's a very exciting for somebody to win that for next season. And also, Vic, I think your grandson had a great time in there on Saturday, didn't he?
Aidan had a fantastic time. He ended up playing table football against Harry Smith. Now, I've never seen such a mismatch in my entire life. Harry is 6'6". Aidan's about a foot. And it was quite it's a great picture taken by Sean King. So, Sean, thanks very much indeed for that. And I should also say he loved the Century Room as well. And in the intro, there was a picture of Caroline standing by the Century Room. Because I think, you know, it's something that doesn't get mentioned very often. But, you know, for children who need to go in there and be quiet, it's a fantastic resource. Yeah.
Exactly, and it's we're very privileged to have it. So it's not many clubs have them, so it's very privileged to have it. So yes, and also we had a first on Saturday with our flag bearers. We did a seniors flag bearers, so it's usually sort of children that do it, and we decided that let's do a bit of inclusivity and get the seniors to do it. And they had a whale of a time. So very exciting. So hopefully we can set that up and do one each season for that. So if anybody's interested in that the next season, just grab us and we can sort it out when we know a date and everything for that. So
And I think
just
they were.
a bit different.
There would have been a picture of them with Colin Calderwood as well in the introduction.
Yeah,
Let's keep going on about this.
We'll play it in a minute. Just as
Yeah.
different.
It was great to see Colin on Saturday. What a player. What a servant for Swindon Town Football Club. And always a pleasure to see him. And you just kind of think, you look at him and you think, hang on, mate, you could get out there and be a centre-half now. You look as fit as a fiddle. So great to see the Fridge back at the county ground on Saturday.
Exactly. And it was another frustrating game on Sunday for the women. A very unexpected, well, not unexpected, I don't mean to say it like that, but they don't lose very often, but they had a 1-0 loss at home to Bridgewater. Fantastic goal from Bridgewater, a lob over the keeper, and it was a good goal. But unfortunately, yes, it was a loss. So I think the title will go right to the wire against Moneyfields away, last game of the season. So we'll all be there to support them on, cheer them on. Okay. And I think that's all from me. Is that all from you, Vic?
All from me.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, let's bring the others on. So we have Mr. Bowden.
Evening.
Evening.
Yeah, we have Declan.
Good evening, all.
Evening, all.
Evening.
We have Liam after his tea. We have Nick.
Hi, everybody.
Hey, we're just waiting for Anna. And Malcolm, I'm very sorry, but this week it is people just waffling on. We haven't got an interview today, so sorry, Malcolm. But there you go. Right, I think Anna's here as well. So let me just bring on Anna. There she is. There we go. Full and complete. I will see you later.
But we have no Vic.
We've got no Vic. Where's he gone?
Where am I gone?
I know we're trying
Hey. Good evening, all. Thank you very much indeed for joining us on this Monday night. Mr. Bowden, let's get your view of this. First,
hello, Vic. I'm not sure if you can hear me, Vic. I'm gone.
Start again, Vic. Start again. We didn't
I can't hear anything.
You've gone.
You can't hear anything. You there? Who can hear me? Put your hands up.
Yeah.
No, Paul's gone. You'll be back in a minute. Right, let's go around the panel. Swindon Town 1, Fleetwood Town 1, Republic of Ireland's visitor to the county ground on Saturday. Declan, how was it for you?
I thought things couldn't get much worse after Thursday night in Prague, Vic, to be honest, in the World Cup qualifier against Czechia, but it did on Saturday, unfortunately. I travelled with a sense of confidence that we could win the game. I wasn't expecting a fantastic, sparkling performance because we haven't had one of them for some time. At this stage of the season, I'm a firm believer in it's all about the points, however you get them, as we had got in previous games. But unfortunately, it didn't work out for us. For the first time in a number of games, we actually scored first, very late on in the first half through young Billy Bowden there. Nice to see him on the score sheet again. I thought then we could kick on in the second half, but unfortunately we didn't. And we've got to give credit to Fleetwood for their performance level on the afternoon, and I think they deservedly in the end took a point out of the game. Although Fletcher Holman going through, you see his name up in lights and you see 3 points coming to Swindon, but unfortunately that didn't work out for us, and we had to end up for a frustrating draw at the end of the afternoon. So it was a little sense of despondency leaving the game on Saturday, not only with the result, but also, of course, with the way results had gone for teams above us as well, and an opportunity to make ground on them. So very much a case of a bad 2 points dropped on Saturday, I think.
This is like Celebrity Squares watching this, because some disappear and then some come back again. So if you're old enough to remember Celebrity Squares, you know what I'm on about. Anna's there, I think. Are you there, Anna? You okay?
Can you hear me?
Yes, good evening to you. Mr. Bowden, have we got you or not? Doesn't look as though we have at the minute. Rob, what was your view of Saturday?
Yeah, I think Declan's probably summed it up for all of us. It was ultimately extremely frustrating. and we're desperate to see that fast-flowing football of the first half of the season again, aren't we? And it feels like it's been a long time since we last turned in a performance of real note. We are grinding results. I don't think there's any doubt about that. It's got to that stage now where it probably looks like the most number of goals we're going to score in a game is 2. So we desperately do need to keep clean sheets and try and make sure we're on the right side of the results. But I thought Saturday, to be fair, Fleetwood came and did an extremely good job on us. 2 wide players, extremely quick. Not seen that at the county ground for quite a long time. Teams actually come here and really want to have a go at us. And they were very sensible. They recognised early that we were beginning to struggle in our passing of the football all across the midfield areas and certainly out wide. We certainly couldn't get any pace in our game at all. And they sat there and waited for us to give them the ball. And as soon as they did, they broke with pace, 2 very quick wide men. And to be quite honest, at the end of the game, I'm thankful for a point. And who knows how important that point might be come the end of the season. Results around us obviously make you think straight away that it's a real opportunity blown and 2 points gone. But you just never know, do you? Sometimes when you look at it at the end of the season, that point may ultimately prove to be very, very crucial. But there is no doubt at all we need to lift this level of performance and very, very quickly.
Paul, you with us? Can you hear us all right?
Yes, it keeps drifting in and out. I don't know if it's my connection or not, but I've got most of it, but I do drift in and out.
That's all right. I drift in and out a lot. Let's get your view of this. I mean, obviously Billy scores right before half-time. Perfect time to score, they always say. But you have to say defensively, the equaliser was shocking, wasn't it? I mean, as a former defender, you must have thought, oh, what are they doing?
Yeah, I mean, I've watched it a couple of times. And, I mean, I think it's Will Wright who clears the initial clearance high into the stand. And then we seem to just switch off. Then there's a little give and go. And nobody comes out and leaves their man in the middle. Obviously, the man dribbling the ball's the danger. And it almost looked too easy, didn't it? We were kind of sat high in the back of the stand. And it just looked too easy, no pressure. And he just bends it into the inside the far post. So, yeah, was it lack of concentration? Boys switching off. They thought they'd cleared it into the stand. But, you know, experienced players at the back. You've got to organise a goalkeeper. He's just got his goal to protect. You know, get the players on their front foot, see the danger, anticipate, and hopefully clear it. But it was frustrating, wasn't it? Because I thought when we scored on half time, that would have, you know, it might have been a different team talk had we not scored. So I thought that'll be a nice positive change from what it would have been. And can we capitalise? And I thought we actually started quite well second half. I thought we actually whipped in a great delivery. The left back delivered a great ball across the face of goal. And if it wasn't for a really good piece of defensive work, Olakibbe would have scored on the back post. So we could have gone 2 up. And I think that would have been a huge difference to the game. But you have to take your hat off to the opposition. I mean, we often talk about our own performance. You know, they've only lost 1 in 11 now. And that was against Grimsby, I think it was. So they were well organised. I mean, they looked like a very, very good team to me. One of the better teams to have played at the county ground. But, you know, if we have aspirations, genuine aspirations to win automatic promotion, then we've got to win more home games. You know, we've not won at home for 4 games, is it?
Yeah. I think it's a problem, Mark, isn't it? I mean, we were saying before that, you know, if you were Fleetwood, you'd be slightly disappointed it didn't go away with 3 points because they didn't sit back. They had to go. And the home form is a concern.
Yeah, I think my issue is not so much the single game on Saturday, Vic, but the fact that it's been pretty much symptomatic of our performances over the last sort of 6 to 8 weeks. You know, we're not blowing teams away. We're not really playing particularly well. We're grinding out results. I think Paul was saying before we came on air that, you know, you kind of expect that at this stage of the season, given the nervousness perhaps of the players, and I take that. But at the same time, you just want us to play a bit better, don't you? You know, we're playing Fleetwood, and Fleetwood, decent side, but then we played Bristol Rovers, we made them look quite good. We played Crewe, we made them look quite good. MK Dons went away with a 2-1 win. So it's a bit of a worry, and I go back to the team selection, the formation, the tactics such as they are. It's difficult, isn't it? 'Cause you can't be too critical, but at the same time, a midfield two of Oldacre and Kilkenny, that's not going to win. That's not going to win balls, is it? It's at the best together. They're good ball players, but where's the midfield enforcer? Where's the offer ball who's going to get his foot in and win the ball back and get us on the front foot? I think that's part of the problem. And the other thing we talked about before we came on air was a lack of pace. Look at the two goals. The two times that we've literally got round the back of teams at Tranmere in the last minute, and then again in the last minute in the first half on Saturday. Other than that, we can't get round teams round the back of them because we haven't got the pace. So for me, there's a few issues here which need addressing, and they need addressing urgently because we'd like to go up automatically. I think many of us perhaps a bit resigned more to the playoff. But are we good enough to play the likes of Notts County, Salford or Crewe and beat them? Given our current form, it's difficult to see, isn't it?
Well, currently at the moment, Liam, it would be Salford. I mean, I've kind of thought for a little while now, it's kind of written in the stars that it'll be Salford. I don't know why. I've just had that feeling for a little while. Are you an automatic or a playoff person at the minute?
Well, firstly, Salford are the form team, really, of the teams around us. Okay, everyone keeps talking about Oldham at the moment, don't they, and what they're doing. And I actually got to see the other night some of Oldham's performance against Notts County. My God, they actually did look really good. How sad was I to watch Notts County Oldham on a Tuesday night or whatever it was. Look, we've got 6 games left, 3 at home, 3 away. We need to win 5 of them. We can probably afford to draw against either Accrington or Colchester, but we've got to win the other 5 because they're 6-pointers rather, aren't they? In Chesterfield, in Walsall, in Cambridge, and and Grimsby. I think all 4 of those have to be won because they're all around us, aren't they, in the points? And I think I agree with everything that's been said above. If you think about what Mark's saying, do we look like a team on form going into the playoffs? No. So we're not a team on form going into promotion either. But we'll all have a conversation, I hope, Thursday night about 10:10 or something, how the season's completely changed because we've beaten Colchester. And there's a lot still, isn't Salford got Bromley coming up or something? I think Salford have got a little run at the moment where they're playing all the teams at the top and they're systematically beating them. And actually, I thought Barnet would have a little run, and they're doing okay the last couple of weeks as well. Barnet are doing us a favour at the moment. But we need to start doing some favours.
Yeah.
And we need to get behind. And Mark, I'm worried again about your comment. I'm sorry we couldn't catch up on Saturday to talk about this. Where's the pace going to come from? Because we've got 6 players out, haven't we, at the moment? And we're missing our captain dynamic. And now Joel McGregor's out, by all accounts, with hamstring. So we've got a tough old running coming in. And at least we've got a Thursday, Monday, as opposed to everyone else that's got a Friday, Monday. And Paul, I'm sure, you must have, they were tough old games, weren't they, over Easter? So at least a 1-day break, albeit an evening, makes it easier, doesn't it?
Yeah, I'll get to you in a minute, Anna, but that's a crucial point, isn't it, Paul? That, it's a big old time, Easter, and we've got a lot of injuries. Players are tired. What's a professional's view of it going into Easter?
Well, I think, if you look at it, the overall picture, it's still a fantastically exciting time. We're all a little bit doom and gloom because we haven't had the perfect performances that we all cry out for. But the facts are, we're in a very, very good position. And I think, I'm sure Ian Holloway's saying it to the players on a daily basis. Compared to last year, this is chalk and cheese. Although we wish we were on the run we were on this time last year because we would probably win automatic promotion. But I think the pressure, teams coming to the county ground, I said it on air Saturday, it's still a fantastic stadium, beautiful pitch surface. Fleetwood are coming here, 8,500, nearly 9,000. It's for them to showcase. They got nothing to lose, have they? And on the back of their 1 defeat in 10, they certainly showed they're a very, very good team to go into perhaps next season in a promotion chasing season themselves. But going back, I still think, now I don't know how, and I know certain things go on the training ground, but I don't know exactly what goes on. I speak to Bill, what's happening and so on. But ultimately, the manager is in control. The players still have an incredible 6 games to play for. And that is what keeps giving me belief that we can get a result, a win against Cambridge on Thursday night, and then build from there. But we do have to improve the performances. I keep hearing people saying, however we get a win, it doesn't matter. Well, I think it does for over a longer period. I mean, if it was a one-off cup final, yes, because if you take the 3 points and you might have been lucky to win it, fair enough. But over a period of time, you need a higher level of performance, and individually as well. If we're looking for 7s, 8s, 9s from every player, which I think we should get from 8 or 9 players, are we actually getting that at the moment? So I think, as well as collectively, I don't think individually the players are quite reaching their heights either.
Anna, your view on Saturday. I mean, were you a glass half full or a glass half empty when you left?
Yeah, probably half empty. I mean, I would dispute the fact that we don't have, or the notion that we don't have pace. I think it's how we employ those players. So in Ola Kigbe and Holman, you clearly do have pace. The difference between our performances since the new year broke and say the end of last season, those were the players that were coming on with 20 minutes to go when we were 2-1 down or we were 1-1, and they were turning the game around. I think the role they were given at those points was probably slightly different. If you remember, Amin coming on against Doncaster away, and that was okay. That was early on, if you remember, at the beginning of that second half. But they're just given the remit: run at those defenders. They're tired, run at them. That's all you're asking to. All I'm asking you to do. Butterworth's role was the same. I think when those players start, their role is slightly different. So Ola Kigbe in the first half, or most of the first half, was employed far too deep, in my view, and that might be because he's trying to double up with the defenders to stave off any wide attacks that they're putting on. But the one time, as we know, that he got to the byline at the end of that first half, he put in a perfect cross, and there we were. So I think the roles that those players have when they're starting needs to be slightly different. I know you need to work your way into the game and get a feel for what the opposition are offering, but we do have that pace. I think it's getting forward with that pace and then getting men in the box, obviously, to get on the end of that. So as Paul said, that Ola Kigbe nearly got on the end of a great ball in at the beginning of the second half. So I think we do have the pace. I think we just got to look at how we use it, and maybe that nervousness that's creeping in is also meaning that the ball that might be played through to the runner is either not getting through or not executed quite well enough and getting intercepted. I think we're seeing quite a lot of that. There's perhaps a little less risk taking. Last year, you could kind of be gung-ho and it didn't really matter because we were, outside reach of the playoffs, in all truthfulness, last year. This season is, Holloway has said, we need promotion. It's not even like we want promotion. We need it like it's a matter of life and death. I think we've obviously got to dig in. The performances are not great, and I think that's having an impact on the attendances at home as well. If you look at, I thought the attendance on Saturday was quite disappointing, and there are perhaps other reasons, town and reasons behind that as well, which are not helpful at all. But we've got to dig in. We have got the quality. We maybe do err on the side of not everyone is putting on their optimum performance. We know they're working hard. We've got to show that bit of quality. Maybe those risks that we take with those passes and those runs. Let's see more runs. There's not a lot of movement, particularly from throw-ins. I mean, that drives me nuts. Just a little bit of a give and go, but movement. That's what we want to see as well. Get those wide men going. And there is all to play for. So who knows? I'm really thinking, this is probably going to be playoffs. Thursday is absolutely crucial. And we need to win it.
Yeah, the attendance 7,743 on Saturday, but to be fair, there were only 100 or so Fleetwood fans. Bless them. We've all done that journey in reverse. It's a long way. Some news from the women's team. Charlie Taylor has suffered a broken tibia, currently in hospital. She'll undergo surgery in the next couple of days. So we wish her all the very best, obviously, for that. The beer facts on the Saturday: Swindon 1, Fleetwood 1. Billy Bowden 45 plus 3. Ooh, Paul, was it in before he finished or
Or was
not?
No, I think I've watched it a few times, and definitely it was close, but it needed to be kicked in over the line for sure.
Fair enough. He's not going to say he didn't finish, is he? Let's be honest.
No.
Fleetwood's goal came on 57 through Mark Helm. The assist was by Ched Evans. The attendance 7,743. Swindon's lineup was 4-2-3-1. Ripley and goal. Wright, Knight, LaBelle, Tavazzoli and Kirkman across the back. Kilkenny and Oldacre in midfield. Olakigbe, Palmer and Bowden. And then Drinnan up front. That formulation, Declan, what was your view of it? Didn't seem to work somehow, did it?
It didn't, Vic, unfortunately. But I was just thinking of something there, listening to the guys and Anna as well. It was International Week, as we know, last week, and we had 3 players who were called up for international duty. So I was just wondering what the thoughts of the guys was, and whether we could have had those games postponed, or were we happy enough that they actually went ahead in the end? That's the question. But in answer to your question, no, that the formation just didn't seem to work, unfortunately, on Saturday, and just got to get back to basics on the training ground this morning and reassess the situation, which I'm sure that Ian will with the boys, and hopefully on Thursday night he can put together a formation that can help us get a very crucial and significant 3 points. But what did the guys think about that point about the international break? Should we have maybe postponed our games with the 3 guys called up?
The last couple of breaks we've had, I think, haven't gone well for us, have they? I think that's why
Sorry, Anna?
Holloway wanted to carry on. Holloway wanted to carry on because the last couple of international breaks have not gone well for us. We've come back, and then we've hit a downturn. We were on the back of two wins, and to be honest, Scanlon hasn't been playing anyway. Hoylett a bit of a miss. Can't remember who the third one was, but I think he was right to play on.
Phil Mabete.
Big Phil.
Mabete, yeah.
Big Phil.
He hasn't been playing either, has he? So I think you've got to carry on if you can. I mean, I'd have been annoyed if I'd have been opposition playing Grimsby the last couple of weeks with their 2 postponements. The points in the bag are always better than the games in hand at this stage, I think.
And end up with 2 very late games at the end of April. We've already got injuries.
Well, that is the problem, Declan. I mean, if it was earlier in the season, maybe, but as a supporter, you're thinking, oh goodness, let's get the games played and get the points on the board if we can. I guess that's the way you look at it, and also long trips, etc. I don't know.
I agree.
Paul.
I agree. They should have been played. Absolutely. I was just interested to get other people's opinions on it, because the opinion around me was a little bit divided about it on Saturday.
What about you, Paul? What's your view of it?
Yeah, I mean,
I think it was right to play. Absolutely, as Anna said, we got momentum behind us with the previous couple of wins, and when we've come back from breaks before, international breaks or maybe enforced breaks with bad weather over Christmas and that, we haven't got the results, so we got to try and drive on while you've got the momentum behind you. So yeah, I would have been in favour absolutely of playing the games.
Paul?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, I'm sure the manager obviously looked at it and thought Hoylett has been a little bit in and out. He can come off the bench and produce. Mabete, he's not even been in some squads, which surprises me at times. And obviously Scanlon came in, scored a goal, and then the next game I think he was quite disappointing, but he's a young man learning the game. So yeah, if they'd have been 3 key players for sure, I think we'd have all been in agreement really. But the fact that they were kind of fringe players, if not squad players, and it was important, if we'd have got the 3 points, we'd have been saying it was 100% right. But of course, when you don't quite get the result that you actually want, there are questions to be asked then. But yeah, I think he was right on this particular instance.
Rob, I know, big fan of Mabete. As we all know, we love his enthusiasm and energy, but he's not been playing. So what's the point of calling these games off?
Yeah, it's a case of being wise after the event, I think, isn't it? Because I think beforehand, I don't think many people turned around and said we should call the game off. I think that the momentum that 2 wins gives you, even though the performances weren't there necessarily, with a home game to follow against a team in mid-table, there was that real opportunity for us to put another 3 points on the board. And as we've all said, the one thing you don't need, especially if we do end up going in the playoffs, is playing more games than we need to towards the very back end of the season. We need everybody fresh as they can possibly be. So no, I think it was definitely the right call to play it. Of course, had they known that Clark wouldn't have been available as well 10 days or so before the decision was made, then potentially that might have been a slightly different decision, because I imagine that would have put Ian Holloway in a more tricky position. But obviously that injury only really became more apparent towards the back end of last week, when it was too late to call the game off anyway. So there may have been other factors at play, but no, overall I think it was the right decision, and it's just a disappointment that we never got the points off at the end of it, really.
John's been in touch regarding backgrounds. 3 points tonight. Rob has come a plucky second in the background table. Well done to you. Liam wins for some high quality symmetry. The important question, though, is what vehicle is Declan in?
Can I say?
Yeah, I could say.
Well, let's just say it's a Japanese model.
Okay. Other nations' vehicles are available. I think it's fair to say.
They are.
Yeah. Mark, obviously, that formation we've talked about before, with the lack of bite in midfield, and we keep going back to Nnamdi Offable, don't we? And what a miss he is. And when Ollie Clark's not in that midfield, it's not quite the same. But although he does, I take the point, he sometimes plays in the centre of defence.
Yeah, just briefly on Declan's question, I think we were all in agreement that we play the game and try and get points on the board. And we were expecting, perhaps the greatest respect to Fleetwood, to get 3 points. And obviously no game's easy in this league, as we've found out to our cost a number of times. In terms of the formation, I talked about a midfield enforcer early on. I'd also like to mention the formation in the position that Palmer finds himself in. As a playmaker, that doesn't work. Not for me. It should be. No, when we had Harry Smith, we probably overused Harry Smith in an aerial sense. We were kicking the ball too long to him at times. But Palmer, the thing about Palmer, he's not going to run past people anymore at 33, 34. But what he has got, as he shows in glimpses on Saturday, is a fantastic touch. His touch is as good as anybody in that side. There were a couple of times when he pulled the ball out of the air, found a teammate. He did it on the edge of his penalty area, actually, in the second half. He did it a couple of times in the first half as well. So for me, he's the pivot. He's the man who's up front. And then you've got your quicker runners, the ones that Anna mentioned earlier on, the likes of Drinnan and Holman and Olakigbe, running past them, not the other way around. And that maybe is one of the reasons why we don't seem to be functioning at the moment. I get the feeling with Ian Holloway, he likes to try different things and experiment. Fine, he's the manager. It's up to him, isn't it? But some of the time it feels a bit like we've got square pegs and round holes. And for me, Palmer should be the number 9. He should be the centre forward. You're playing off him. I've lost count of the number of times. MK Dons was a prime example when I went away from home, where he's knocking the ball down into midfield. And I want somebody to be running onto that ball. And there isn't anyone. There's nobody within 10, 15, 20 yards of him. So that's something for me that can be easily adjusted. If you're going to play Palmer, play him up front, get people running past him. He's going to knock the ball on. He's going to flick the ball on, and he's going to hold the ball up at times, not always, perhaps not as well as Harry Smith, but get the fast runners running past him.
On the subject, Harry Smith, of course, it was good to see him back on the grass, as they say.
So
and he was having a fit. Yeah, he was running up and down the county ground on Saturday afternoon, and I know he was popular in the junior reds and stuff. So it's good to see him back, Liam. And also, I think Glatzel was there, Snowden was there, and Ollie Clark. They were all having a run around before the game. That's good to see.
Absolutely. I'd still rather we went up and they were fit for the playoffs, or semi-fit for the playoffs. No, that's great news. And Ollie did the same. Don't forget last year with Drinnan. And back to Declan's earlier point, maybe he should be called up for the Ireland team, because he's scoring, and not everybody in the Ireland squad are scoring at the moment, are they? Apart from Troy Parrott. They will start. I guess Ireland wouldn't look at a player at third level or fourth level, but if you've got the highest score, the first EFL player to score 20 goals this season, wasn't it? Albeit that he slowed down the last couple of months. But back to what I was going to say is that Ollie stuck by him and kept him on and signed a new contract. And I guess that's how his contract's up in the summer, isn't it? And so those discussions will be taking place as well, depending on where we are, of course.
Yeah, it's a tricky one, isn't it, Paul, for a manager? Because, you know, you've got contract discussions to be had. You've got to scout for players for next season. But, you know, you're not really sure what division you're going to be in. So it's a tricky one for all of them.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there'll be quite a big list, I would imagine, which he'll be going through already. Which players are going to be retained? Should we go up? Will the same players be retained or be offered? So, yeah, it's quite a conundrum, really. And then the type of player you need to bring in, either to get you out of the second division or to sustain a good level in the first division. So there's a huge difference, isn't there, in what you could potentially be looking for. But I think Ollie's got a certain type of player he likes. And he's one of their managers who'll actually meet the player, get a feel for what the player really feels, rather than a head of recruitment signing them or a director of football. You know, there's one thing about Ian Holloway, and old school in that respect, in that he likes to meet the players before they put pen to paper. And I still think that's a great value to have in this current way football is.
Yeah, and a point's been made here by Trevor and by GAP Phillips. We've got too big a squad. Doesn't know his best team. I mean, is that a problem, Paul? I mean, I always go back to Di Canio, and he had about 43 players sitting in the stand and didn't know what to do with them. Can you have too many players?
Personally, I think you can. I mean, obviously, the game was very different when I played myself, but we had a squad of sort of 16, 18 with a couple of younger players. And then if need be, the youth team players would come and join in training for 11v11s, etc. So I think you can have too many. But if you look at the injuries we've got currently and the longer term injuries, we've got a few players out on loan, the younger lads. So, you know, potentially that'll have a good effect come the end of the season. But there seems to be an awful lot of hamstring injuries this year, so I don't quite know what's going on with that respect. You know, we've got conditioning guys, strength and conditioning, physios, all sorts of therapists. And yeah, and it's not just Swindon, by the way. I mean, throughout football, I've never known so many injuries at football clubs. We've got all these professional people who are supposed to be guiding them and looking after their individual performance levels.
Yeah, it's an interesting point which I was going to get onto. So thank you very much for bringing it up. I mean, Anna, we are seeing a lot of these, it seems to me. I mean, it's very easy to do a hamstring. I mean, those of us who've done any exercise at all will know how easy it is to go. But, you know, with the way fitness is these days, you would hope that it wouldn't be quite so bad.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you know, I would hope they're looking at what they do, the training methods, the warm ups, etc. But yeah, so it is an issue. Going back to the squad size, I always felt the squad was too big. But as we said, you know, with the number of injuries we've had in key places, that's perhaps provided us with some cover. And as we go into that, as he goes into those contract discussions or thoughts before the end of the season and in the beginning of the close season, hopefully he'll be looking at that issue of the midfield, kind of the midfield general, as we used to call them.
Oh, yes.
That one that can kind of give that cover and protection to the likes of Kilkenny and Oldacre. Kilkenny and Oldacre both like to kind of. I know Oldacre gets a lot of stick. Personally, I like him. I think what he does is he seems to take too much time at the same time as creating time, if you know what I mean. I know that sounds contradictory, but he does slow the game down, but he's looking for those runs and spaces. If you have an enforcer in there, someone looking after that kind of ball-playing midfielder like Kilkenny as well, you give him a bit more space and time, and we haven't had that. So, and then obviously when Clark's out or he's drawn into the defensive duties, that leaves that big gap, and I think we do miss that player. So, you know, hopefully Clark is not going to be the 3 weeks we hope he's going to be, and he'll be back before that because we need him, I think.
Yeah, well, Oldacre at Tranmere was fantastic, but I know what Rob's going to say about that. He had a lot of time and space given to him by the Tranmere players, so we'll bring that to you in a minute. But this is from Anthony. Holloway brought in kids during January when we desperately needed experienced players, and these kids don't even get near the first team now. We've been mediocre at home most of the season, excuse me, and the away forms kept us in the mix. Paul says Cambridge nearly have to play all sides around them. Adrian says, just looked at the stats from Saturday. Tackles won by Old Acre and Kilkenny equals 0. And that's in midfield. Tells a big part of the story. Colin says, Salford have Notts, Crewe, Oldham and Bromley to play. And this is it, Declan, isn't it? We all run away with the idea that, Swindon have got a tough running, but everybody's got a tough running at this time of the season. I mean, everybody has to play each other. So who knows? I mean, look at Barrow and Bromley on Saturday. That was a stone cold away win, wasn't it? On the Pools. Do you remember them? But Barrow went and won it.
Absolutely, it was, and full credit to Barrow for that victory. And I think the season Bromley are having is absolutely incredible. The size of their club, their gates, but when you've got a chairman who's invested properly in the club, in the community around Bromley, it shows its effects. But that's a discussion for another day. Yeah, look, everyone used to say he's got to play everybody else around us, and as Paul said earlier on, we're still in the mix, so we've got to still keep believing in this project. There are 2 dotted lines to look at, top 3 and then down to 8. Now, I must admit, after Saturday, I was more inclined to be looking down at 8th rather than 3rd. But I still believe that we can do something here if we get a little bit of a break along the way. That might seem simplistic to suggest, but that's just what it needs. Something small just to make it click. And those 3 points, crucial 3 points away at Cambridge on Thursday night, would be that. And just in relation to the point about Aaron Drinnan and call-ups, there's no way he's going to get a call-up for Ireland, unfortunately. We did have a striker issue for the game last week, and apparently the manager rang David McGoldrick, who had retired from international football, still doing well in his career, but had rang him as an option. But no, look, I still believe that we can get something out of this. I really, really do. What it's based on, don't ask me. It's just following Swindon Town like the rest of you guys for so many years. It's the hope that gets you in the end. But at the moment, I still have it, and please God, we can get those 3 points on Thursday.
Sometimes I feel it's better just to hit yourself on the head with a pen. It's less painful, really. Let's have a look at the table. Bromley are top then, 40 played, 79 points, 25 goal difference. Then came MK Dons, 74 points from 40 games, 35 goal difference. And then Notts County, who won at Harrogate on Saturday, 73 points, 40 played, 25 goal difference. And then that first dotted line, Cambridge in 4th place, 39 games played, 27 goal difference, 72 points. Their last 6, drawn, 1 lost. Swindon in 5th, played 40, 18 goal difference, 70 points, and their last 6, drawn, lost, 1 drawn. So 1 defeat in the last 6, but draws, I guess. Salford in 6th, 40 games played, 7 goal difference, 70 points, and then come Crewe just above the dotted line, 40 played, 12 goal difference, 63 points. Let's have a look at these comments. Got some coming in now, loads of them. I've watched most games. I love the club. We may just be worth the playoffs. We've missed Harry. Hi, Gary. I don't like our style of play at all. We miss out midfield totally and hoof it up to Drinnan or Palmer and hope they do something with it. Defence has been a shambles. Adrian, sending Ripley up for the corner was the most bizarre decision I've seen in a league game. It wasn't a 2-leg cup game. He saved us from defeat minutes before. And here's a controversial one. Sean says, good job, Billy followed up. Drinnan's header had crossed the line. I'm not going any further with that. Rob, what about Ripley going up? We all went, what? I mean, goalkeepers seem to do this all the time, and they seem to stand out of their goal a lot. I mean, it worries me. What about you?
Well, the only thing I'll say to it is I do hope they'd been tipped off that was the last play of the game. That's the only thing that was going through my head, because if that wasn't the last play of the game, that could easily have been, let's gift wrap 3 points to Fleetwood, and that 1 point that we had disappears. And as I mentioned earlier, how important that 1 point could be, we just don't know yet. So whatever you do, in my mind at the moment, especially in the position that we're not in a position where it's do or die. We might be come tomorrow, but we're not at the moment. So don't gift away what you've already spent 95 minutes earning. So I get the point. Stick another big body up top, last minute set piece. But then if you're going to do that, don't get somebody on the pitch who's going to take a corner that doesn't get past the near post, for crying out loud. One of the most frustrating deliveries all game was the last one, I have to say, because if you suddenly put all your players in the box, the one thing you can't afford to do is hit the first man. And what did we do? We didn't even get it close to beating the first man. It was an easy clearance for them. So it was wasted, really. But I mean, it gives us an idea, I guess, of what Ian Holloway's thinking is, doesn't it? It's all or nothing as far as he's concerned at the moment. And maybe occasionally we do need to take a little bit of a chill pill, all of us, because we're all very much a case of reactive to everything, aren't we? Both on the pitch and off the pitch. And that was a symptom for me of somebody at the moment who's just not quite on it, if that makes any sense at all. I just don't think he's quite the same manager he was prior to Luton earlier in the season and prior to all the injuries. Just don't think he's got his squad together in the same way. And I just don't think the squad mentality is quite the same as it was prior to that day. And I'm not going to point fingers at anybody, but I just think that come the end of the season, that day at Luton might play a really, really important part in what happens at the end of the season. I hope not. I hope we put everything behind us and we now go on the biggest and best run that we could possibly find between now and the end of the season. Just feel at the moment, though, we're missing something pretty significant. And I think it's mentality rather than physicality.
When's that final? That's coming up, isn't it? Anyway, moving on. Kevin says, why are we mentioning the playoffs when the top three's still on? Be more positive, Mark.
I got accused of being miserable on Saturday. I'm not generally miserable, and I do appreciate the fact that we are still in the playoffs and very likely to be in the playoffs after 46 matches. I'd love us to be in the top three. I'm not sure whether we will be, although funnily enough, I do think we're going to win at Cambridge. I do feel quite optimistic about that. Yeah. It's just, I guess one of the things that being a Swindon fan of over 50 years is you get used to the frustration that you feel. And I'll
do this again.
Yeah, I do feel frustrated. I do feel there's some really good performances early on before Christmas. But if we look at post-Christmas, whether Rob's right and the Luton fiasco is a factor, I'm not sure. I think there is a sense that all is not quite right. You can't quite put your finger on it. It doesn't feel like the players aren't trying. They are trying. They're really trying. You know, their effort. You can't fault that at all. But the quality is lacking to the point where half a dozen times in the first half on Saturday, the ball was rolling under a foot. Kilkenny misplaced a pass from 5 yards. Ola Kigbe passed it straight to their play about 3 times out of the first 4 times he got it. And I don't know what that is. I don't know whether it's a mentality, whether it's nerves, whether it's a lack of confidence. Some people might point to the crowd. I would never point to the crowd because I think the Swindon fans are with the players. The Swindon fans want that team to get out of this bloody league because we've been in it now for 6 seasons and I'm fed up of it. I'm fed up of 104 Fleetwood fans. With the greatest respect to you, Fleetwood, sorry, but I want to see bigger teams at the county ground. It's been our level historically. I want to get out of this league. I don't want it to be next season. I want it to be this season. And I want us to seize it. 6 games left. Can we do it? Of course we can do it. And maybe, they'll find something within them to, starting with a win on Thursday, to get all 6 wins and then go up automatically. It could happen. You can't predict anything in football, can you? Because it's just so random at times. You look at, like you said, Barrow beating Bromley. I mean, where did that come from? The bottom team beats the top team in this league. It was just bonkers, isn't it, really? So we could do it, but we just need to find something from within, don't we? Whatever that might be, whether it's Holloway giving a motivational talk or Tafazoli doing something or Ollie Clark or somebody, just find it from within themselves, like Paul and Co did all those years ago in 93, to fire us up and get us over the line, whether it be in the playoffs or automatically, Yeah,
I always remember us winning at Charlton all those years ago. We were stone bottom of the league. Won for 13 matches or something ridiculous. Yeah. Chris A scored earlier on.
Yeah,
it was 3 minutes in, and it was like the Alamo for the 87 minutes. But yeah, fabulous. Hi, Gary. Play with natural wingers who cross the ball. Strikers thrive on crosses in the box. Palmer will not take 2 or 3 players on and put it in the top corner. Surely it makes sense to play to his strengths. Not a fan of 3-5-2 or 5-3-2. Strikers need feeding. If you look at promotion sides, we are not one, says GAP Phillips. Hi, Peter. Saturday was all about fearing losing both on and off the field. Both supporters and players need to ditch their anxiety and get positive. Hi, Phil. My main issue is the lack of shots. So many times we push the ball out wide rather than shoot. If you shoot, there are chances of deflections. Liam, as a crowd, are we too nervous? I mean, we live or die by what happens on the pitch. You know that. We all want our team desperately to win. As Mark said, we want to get the heck out of this league. We're all fed up with the back teeth of it. And I'm cracking on a bit. I'd like to get out before I shuffle off. So long, I'm fed up with the back teeth of going to, with due respect, Barrow and places like that. Are we too negative or what?
Well, I've been going 55 years now, since a couple of weeks back. Townend's not sucking the ball into the back of the net because the Townend's not. Anna touched on this earlier. And the Townend's not how it was. And does it make a difference now if we win the toss and kick into the Townend in the second half anymore? We still like to do that and we still keep to it. But we are nervous. But we're also, what's the word? Cautious and worried as well, I think. And so there's a bit of nerves in this as well, why we're not getting behind. Without sounding like an old whatever, it's all, life's all a bit polemic now, isn't it? You either are or you're not. And we're either going up or we're not. Instead of give this a chance, give this a go, see what happens over the next 6 games. Let's see what happens after Thursday. And you lucky people that are going Thursday night, getting behind them, really. We've got 7-7, of which 7-6 are ours. And that includes season ticket holders who couldn't make it. The next 3 games, let's try and get it towards 10. We've got Walsall on Bank Holiday Monday, haven't we? They'll bring 1,000 or so, I guess.
Yeah.
Because they've still got an outside chance of the playoffs. Outside, I know, but they're not quite on the beach yet. So that's gonna be a game to consider, and no doubt we'll be talking about that in a few minutes. But this is the time to get behind them. I mean, this is the official supporters club webcast or whatever. This is about us as supporters getting behind the team and being really positive, because actually we all love this club, and the club's bigger than anything else.
Sean says it's all well saying that we got to play each other, but like Saturday, yet again, we didn't capitalise on the slip-ups of promotion rivals. Again, agree, mate. Other teams seem to do us favours time and time again, but we don't capitalise on it, sadly. Unbelievably frustrating. Let me see. Jamie says Ripley did go up in a home game earlier this season too. Can't recall which. Hi, Rich. Poor performance on Saturday. Just think Ollie should not respond to opposition bench, says Tony, trying to wind him up and get sent off. I'm glad you found some light, Mr. Bowden. It is fading. I know the clocks have gone forward, but it's getting dark here. I'm glad I put a light on. Right, nerves. Do they play a part? I mean, I remember playing Bournemouth, I think, on an Easter Monday. Big game, 86-87. Finished 1-1. Horrible pitch. In those days, of course, the pitch was not like it is now. It's a carpet. Do nerves play a part?
Well, certainly in the current form, in terms of performance, be not playing with the confidence that they were, obviously. But usually winning, there's no better thing for confidence than actually winning football matches. And coming off the back of 2 really good away wins, that I thought would have given us the confidence to play better than what we did on Saturday. The fact that we're away on Thursday, does that mean the pressure's off? Is it a pressure for these younger players that are in the team? Ola Kimpey, someone mentioned it earlier. His first 3-4 touches weren't particularly good. He was negative with the ball. We can all see the incredible. I mean, he can beat any player at any level, in my opinion. But to only sort of really try that once in the first half, albeit in extra time of the first half, is incredible for me. That's his strength of his game. He should really be encouraged. Every time he gets the ball, they'll have to double up, and then that'll leave space somewhere else. But when he's 1v1, for me, he can beat any player, certainly in this division and a lot of the divisions higher. And his wing play is outstanding, you know, to beat his man like he does and clip such a great ball to the back post as well is a tremendous skill to have. But I'd like to see it a lot more for sure.
He's a get you off your seat player, isn't he? To me, he's one of those.
I mean, he
Absolutely.
showed us since he's been here, really. I mean, when he's come off the bench, and it probably happens more so off the bench than it does when he starts. But you think, you know, this is your golden opportunity. Go out there. The manager's shown faith in you. Get the ball and run at the opposition. Job description. Don't worry about defending so much. You've got an more experienced defender behind you. Your role in the team today is to take on the opposition fullback and beat him and cross the ball like he did. So he shows he can do it. And we've seen him over many games that he's played this season coming on, that he can do it frequently. But for me to only do that once in the first half, I mean, when I was playing as a wing back or a left back, I would give myself a target, 5 or 6 crosses per half. And that was as a natural fullback. And that was just a little challenge to myself. The managers were obviously encouraging that, you know, get forward at every opportunity. We've mentioned this on the show many times before. We had a player called Ross McLaren, who you knew that the sitter, the stopper, the number 6, call him whatever you want, he would sit, and because he didn't have the legs to go chasing balls all over the pitch and side to side, he would sit with a disciplined role, sit in front of the 2 centre-halves or the 3 centre-halves when Glenn came, and you always knew he was your insurance. So as a fullback or a wing back, you would get up the pitch as high as possible in an attacking sense with the ball, and then you were asked to come back to certain positions, you know, out of possession. But for someone like Olakibe to not get 6, 7, 8 crosses in per game, you know, is not good enough in my opinion.
Yeah. Ross McLaren, eh? Oh, what a player. Too much passing back. Are we lacking the midfielders to make killer passes or forwards running into space? Says Peter. Hi, John. Maybe the owner doesn't want the team to go up. They may not have the money to go up. Hi, Jamie. On the plus side, Knight LaBelle, proper underrated, quality player, getting better and better. Hi, Lisa. We need to start attacking. The constant backwards play is so boring to watch. We need that flair back. Let's hope Thursday we can do that. And on about that, I think our attendance was poor Saturday, considering where we are in the league, and with only a few games left. Bristol Rovers had more. Monroe must have left the game thinking, how on earth have we got this bad, says Adrian. Yeah, Finley Monroe was there, Anna. I mean, that seemed to have a big effect on Ian Holloway as well, didn't it? The fact that Finley Monroe left. I mean, you know, what a great first start. He probably would have been player of the season if he'd stayed, wouldn't he? I think there's no doubt about that. Goodness me. But he's gone. That's it, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I think the combination of those two things. I mean, when I remember there was a panel we were on just after he'd left. And at that point, I think I remember thinking and saying, well, you know, not so bad that he's gone because we had so much other quality. But then Glatzel got injured, Snowden faded out. Those doubling up partnerships on the left and the right were gone. And I do think as well that Luton game had a massive impact psychologically on Holloway, notably, and whether that transmitted itself to the players or not, I don't know. But on the back of that game, I thought, you know, we'd gone up to Luton, we'd beaten them. We were in the last 16 or whatever it was at that point. Holloway was talking about, I want to get these players to Wembley. There's not going to be much opportunity for them to do that. Who knows, we might get another one soon now. But, you know, I think Luton in combination with Monroe and then the other injuries that took away that forward play, that speed we had and the crosses, I think did have a huge impact. And going back to what somebody said earlier, you know, feed the strikers. I'm not a big fan of stats, you know, the BBC stats they put out, but the touches in the box I think is a really key one. Quite often we don't have many touches in the box because, in my view, we're not getting enough bodies in there. Get the ball to the byline, cut inside, get the ball in the box, get men in the box, deflection, whatever. Get it going goalwards. We don't get enough of that. So, you know, there's so many things in there to look at. But we have got those 6 games left, and we've got to try and be positive as a fan base as well. I do think if we hadn't nicked that goal late on in the first half on Saturday, I think there would have been boos. I think that's, let's not play down the propensity of Swindon fans either to be too quiet or to be negative in that way when we're in the top 5, 6 or whatever it is, because we do have that propensity. Not me, by the way, but a vocal enough group to make itself heard, and I think that transmits itself to the players in terms of a bit of extra nervousness that they don't need. So we shouldn't have to go out before a home game and go, let's get behind the lads. Well, you're going to support your side. What are you going to do if you're not getting behind the lads?
Yeah,
you shouldn't have to put that call out. It should be automatic when we're going for promotion, automatic promotional playoffs or whatever, that we make it a cauldron every single game. You shouldn't have to ask people to do it. And we're having to ask people to do it. Why is that? I think you've got to, it's a different discussion maybe, but so we've got to be vocal. We've got to play our part, even if the football is, not as exciting as we want it to be. Let's try and get them going. Let's try and support and not sigh and moan if there's a misplaced pass, particularly with the young lads.
As you know, Anna, when you're away from home, it's a different atmosphere, isn't it? For some reason.
Yeah. Well, that's because you put the effort into travelling, maybe, haven't you?
Yeah, maybe. Tony picks up on that point. Going to all the games, we'll do our bit. Just fed up with going up the M1 and M6. Can you put the M5 in that as well, please? That'd be good.
Those service stations have become old friends, aren't they?
Yeah. Paul says Munro was the best left back since Paul Bowden. There you go. How about that? That's pretty good. Right. Okay. So Easter coming up. We've got Cambridge away on Thursday, who lost to Barnet on Saturday. And then we got Walsall on Monday. So, Declan, 6 points up for grabs. How many?
You're asking me how many we're going to get?
Yeah.
Thanks for the lead question, Vic. How many we're going to get? 4.
Rob?
4. I think we can get the win on Thursday, and Walsall will hold us on Monday.
Rob, what's your view?
You can't see my hands, so I've got my fingers and toes firmly crossed at the minute, but it's 6.
Okay. Mark, well, that's positive enough. Thank you. Rob? No, Mark, sorry.
We're going to beat Cambridge, and then we are going to win against Walsall 6.
Excellent. Liam?
Well, thankfully, it's not going to go to penalties. So I'm going to go with my legs crossed 6.
Mr. Bowden, you've got to transmit this positivity to young Bowden and say, look, they're all saying 6 out of 6. Declan's saying 4. What are you going for?
Well, I'd love 6 as well, but I got a feeling that it'll be 4. I think a bit like Declan in that. I think away from home, I think we'll a bit more freedom. It should give us confidence after a win at Cambridge, live on Sky. I'm hoping then it'll be a home win on Monday, but I just think they'll come and try and spoil any promotion hopes that we've got. Walsall, and depending on how their result goes in the meantime as well on Friday, they may have genuine aspirations themselves of getting back into the playoffs. So it's certainly 2 games to really look forward to. Fantastic opportunity for us at this club, and certainly the players will be out on the park. And let's hope I'm backing the boys who are going for 6, and Anna, but I just think it might be 4.
Anna, what have you say?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I was going to say 2. I'm feeling a bit glass half empty.
Come on, Anna.
Maybe it might. I can't see it being 6. I just don't think our performances are good enough, to be honest. And every game we're saying, like Paul said, on the back of those 2 away wins, coming away from Gillingham, I thought Saturday we're going to really put on a good one. We're going to win 3 or 4-0. We're going to cast all those demons away. We're going to start that real push for autos, and it was not a good performance, was it? So I'm gonna say 2. I'm going to say 2 draws.
You just said get behind the team. And now you
it doesn't mean. Hey, look, that's the difference. Just because I say that doesn't mean I'm not getting behind the team, right? It doesn't mean the same thing.
No, okay, fair enough. I get that. Sean says, to be fair, fans did get behind them later in the game, but that was only because it went around the ground that rivals were losing. So there we are. Right, thank you all very much indeed. Fools Rush In will be on at 9 o'clock, of course. More Sin and Town content. It's time Declan got out of that Japanese car of no... What's the word?
He's gone. He's getting out as you speak.
Yeah,
Oh,
he's out.
he's-
No identity, the Japanese car. So thank you all very much indeed. Rob, Liam, Mark, Anna, and Mr. Bowden, of course. There you are, Chris. Slightly positive. We ended on a bit of a less positive note, I felt, there with Anna.
Vic, it looks like I've become Willie Rushton.
Sorry about that.
I'm Willie Rushton in the middle here.
Well, I'm going for 6 points.
Oh, there you go then. There you go.
Positivity up a bit.
Yeah.
Thank you all on the panel. Thank everybody for watching. We won't be back next Monday because, of course, we're playing Warsaw. So we will miss next week, but we will see you the week after. So we'll have, 3, 6? We may have 6.
Hang on.
9
3,
points
6,
by then.
9 points. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I was just because we're playing Colchester on the Friday, aren't we?
Yes, we are. Yeah.
Yes. So we may well have 9 points by then. Let's fingers crossed and hoping and everything. So anyway, see you all soon and take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.